We all want the hero shot. The easiest thing you can do if you're doing remotely recorded podcasts is make sure the camera's lifted up. I would call it, don't Darth Vader yourself. Don't have the camera below you. That's basically what we're talking about, because if you have the camera below, then you are basically making yourself look like a Hollywood villain. So all you got to do is stick a stack of books underneath it, lift it up to eye level. I would say 6 hardbacks or perhaps eight paperbacks will generally get you up to about the right level. And that's all you need. People take less than a second. Video packaging is title, description, thumbnail. These are vitally important. They're actually more important than your video itself, because without decent packaging, without a title and description that tell the algorithm of YouTube or whatever platform you're on what your video is about, then the viewers will never see your videos. All that good work you've done in the video will never get seen. When it comes to thumbnails, they're massively important, because if you do get your video presented to a viewer by the algorithm, by YouTube, by whichever platform, you need them to click. And the thumbnail is your path to doing that. People take less than a second looking at a thumbnail as to whether they're going to watch a video. That's why you need 5 words or less if you're going to have words on your image, and you need a really strong image. Think about the title and the thumbnail before you ever hit record. What are you trying to get to? What are you trying to tell your audience? The packaging of a video is absolutely vital, because without it, viewers will never see it, and all that good work you've done in the video will never get seen. Right at the top to stop viewers clicking away. In the first few seconds, you need a hook, or you need to create a curiosity gap. Create something that makes them go, oh, I want to know the answer to that question. A tease, a hook, whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, people just tune away. People are dying to get away from your video because they think the next thing they click on will be the greatest thing in history. So what you need to do is create a curiosity gap right at the top to stop viewers clicking away. You need to be very direct. It's the one place where audio and video podcasts perhaps diverge, is in the first few seconds. Actually, the rest of the content can be exactly the same. You can get that warm intro to an audio pod. You need to be very direct at the start of a video pod. You need a hook. You need that curiosity gap. You need to get people wanting to watch more. That's very effective. One of the things you can do in video is you can have extra calls to action that make literally no difference to the audio experience, but you can have little arrows pointing to the subscribe button on YouTube. That's very effective in a podcast I've worked on called Africa Here and Now. The videos with the little arrow has got more subscribers, so it really works. Our biggest hit video is now 110,000 rather than 10,000. Africa Here and Now is a show that I've been working on. It's been a really big success. I'd love to say it was all down to me, but it wasn't. We've improved their titles so it's more searchable. They tell the algorithm more. We've made them more direct, and we've done a lot of work on their thumbnails, and that's been really effective. Along with Martine, who runs the show, we've gone from 700 to 7,500 subscribers across 6 months. You know, our biggest hit video is now 110,000 rather than 10,000. The average video views was around 800. It's now 9,000. So we've had real success. One of the other reasons that we've had a lot of success, they have gone from trying to cover 3 or 4 stories in a sort of magazine-y style to actually covering one story well. And that gives a focus for viewers and listeners to tune into. It makes it easier to sell each episode of the podcast. Viewers and listeners know what they're going to get, because it's just the cheapest way to do it. The most cost-effective way to make a video podcast is remotely. Use a service like Riverside or Descript or any one of half a dozen others. They record high-res sound, high-res pictures, and you then edit those. It's just the cheapest way to do it. You don't have to send a crew to go and interview people. Do it remotely. It's one of the simplest things you can do that will make your podcast and you look better. Try to do a tech check call a week before you do a podcast recording to make sure that your interviewee has got any kit that they need. They might need a microphone. They might have a background that doesn't particularly work. One of the really important things is making sure they're properly framed. So they're in the central third of the frame. That's really important, because then when you export to social, you don't want them to be massive in the frame. So it's really important that they're framed properly. Make sure that the camera is high enough. People are so used to being on Teams calls and things like that, that they have the laptop underneath them. It's one of the simplest things you can do that will make your podcast and you look better. It's a real, don't do that. Don't have the strongest light source in the room behind you. And what that generally means is don't have the window behind you, because your whole face is in shadow. Your whole face becomes in shadow if you've got a window behind you. It's particularly important for people of colour. People of colour have been badly lit for years, and if they're backlit by the strongest light source that's coming into the room, it really doesn't work. And the easiest way to deal with the light source that's behind you is basically turn your computer around and face the window. It's really not complicated. Just face the window. There are other issues. If you're in a super dark room, you might need to spend 30 or 40 quid on some lights. There are fairly simple setups for showing people how to position the lights. That doesn't have to be complicated. But yeah, don't have a window behind you. It's a real, don't do that. Make sure you've got enough light coming onto your face and you're good. You can do a location shoot with just an iPhone. The easiest way to do a location shoot, if you haven't got the money for a crew, which I'd always advise because you will get better quality, you can do it with an iPhone, a £10 tripod, and spend a bit of money on some microphones, somewhere between £50 and £100 on some lapel mics like these. If you have a lapel mic like this, you can get decent sound. The way you frame the iPhone is you get two people in frame, in the same frame, and then when you edit, you can turn that into 3 shots. The 2 shot of the people talking to each other and an individual shot of each speaker. And that's quite important because you need to be able to cut away from the person who's doing most of the talking. Because what might happen is the person who's doing most of the talking, the guest, might be talking away and the presenter looks down or looks away, and it looks as though they're bored, even though they're actually thinking about their next question. Being able to divvy it up into 1 shot up into 3 is a good way of doing it, and you can do it with just an iPhone. The microphone I recommend for the iPhone style shooting, it's a Hollyland Lark Mark II. It's about 110 quid. You can get cheaper versions, but the Hollyland's pretty good. It works very well. And the receiver just plugs into your iPhone. 3, 4, 5 podcasts shot in a day. One of the great things you get with a camera crew is, one, it takes away a load of technical stress. You don't have to worry. You have people monitoring the sound. You know you're going to get a good product. One of the other savings you get, if say you're a magazine that's shooting at a show, if you set up a little pop-up studio with a camera crew, you pay for that camera crew for the day, and then you can get 3, 4, 5 podcasts shot in a day. You can get them shot in high quality. It works really well. So suddenly, instead of paying for a crew for every shoot, you're paying for 1 crew to shoot 5 episodes of your show. You've still got the post-production, the editing, all the bits and pieces that go with it. It's a good way to improve quality. You get better conversations when people are face-to-face, and you also get that sort of reassurance and not having to think about sync. Pattern interruption is something that you get, especially when you use a crew, but also you can use the iPhone trick of getting 3 shots from 1. Changing the shots regularly, maybe adding pictures, maybe adding graphics, keeps viewers engaged. You don't have to change the shot every 3 seconds, but if you regularly change it and just change what the viewer's getting, you interrupt the pattern where their brain is predicting what comes next. That's important in keeping viewers engaged. When I talk about shot changes, I'm talking about using the 2 shot of people that you might have from your camera crew, using a single, using a cutaway of the presenter. You know, we call them noddies in TV. Yeah, it is just using a variety of shots to keep people engaged. So pattern interruption is something that's worth thinking about if you're going to up the quality of your video.